If you clicked on this video, you're probably looking to 1. Level up your Archaeology and Classic Cataclysm, and 2. Get your pre-rate best in slot item from it in the process. And that's exactly what I'm gonna show you how to do today, as quickly and as efficiently as possible, by both giving you the basics on how this profession works, as well as providing you with some tips and tricks that will save you hours worth of time in the process of leveling it and obtaining your pre-rate best items. So without further ado, let's get into it. First off, real quick, if you don't know how archaeology works, this is a secondary profession that was added in Cataclysm. Secondary meaning it won't take up one of your 2 main profession slots. It acts like cooking or fishing. The whole idea behind archaeology is that you go around the world searching for fragments to dig up in order to craft artifacts of a specific race. There's 10 different races / categories of artifacts you can craft. That being said, while leveling, you don't really need to worry about any of these different races. Just go to the closest dig site, regardless of which race it belongs to, pick up all the fragments from it, craft an item if you have enough fragments to do so, rinse and repeat until you're max level. Now, most things you'll get to craft will just be useless common items, but with enough time and luck, you'll end up getting your coveted pre-rate BIS items. Now, the pre-rate BIS items from this profession, like Zin'rokh for warriors or DKs, or the Staff of Sorcerer-Thane Thaurissan for casters, are really strong items. They basically will only be replaced by heroic level gear from tier 11 raids, but they're equally as powerful as they are difficult to get. We're talking tens of hours of flying around the world and crafting artifacts, but if you're up for the challenge, you'll get a super strong item that you probably won't replace for a while. With that said, you can learn archaeology from any capital city all the way from level 20, and the minute you learn it, you can open up your map and you'll start seeing icons of shovels around the world. Those are called dig sites, and they're places you'll need to go to level up this profession. Pick a dig site, it doesn't matter which one at this point, fly there and open your spellbook and then go to the profession tab. There you'll see an icon for a spell called Survey on the Archaeology tab. I suggest you grab this now and place it somewhere on your bar on a keybind that you can easily press. We'll be pressing this a lot from now on. So once you're inside the border of a dig site and you have the Survey spell handy, click it and this will spawn a small tripod device that will point towards the direction of the fragment in the dig site you're in. And it will also flash in one of 3 colors. A red flashing light means the fragment is more than 80 yards away. Yellow means it's between 40 and 80 yards, and a green light means you're very close and it's under 40 yards in that direction. Once you have collected enough fragments, and side note, you can only hold up to 200 fragments by the way. This is important to know for later in order to min-max your chances to get the items you're after, but more on this in a minute. Once you've collected enough fragments, you'll be able to craft an artifact, and once you craft said artifact, it will be replaced by another artifact to craft of probably common, maybe rare, or if you're lucky, epic quality. Obviously, the pre-rate BIS items are of epic quality, and unfortunately, some races have more or less items than others. So depending on which race the item you're looking for belongs to, it may be more or less difficult to get. One last thing about crafting artifacts. You'll sometimes see this little slot appear at the bottom left of your crafting tab. This is a keystone slot, and what keystones do is they add 12 fragments to your progression bar. Never craft an artifact without using these, as they will save you a lot of time in the long run. And don't worry about going over the required fragments to craft an item. The keystone fragments will bleed into the next item you craft. You'll be getting a bunch of keystones simply by digging up fragments around the world, so make sure to keep them around in your bags. But if you run out of them, you can also buy them from the auction house. Now that's the idea with archaeology. You'll be doing this again and again from levels 1 to 525. That being said, if you learn this profession, it's probably not just for the sake of leveling it, but rather to get one or multiple pre-rate BIS items from it. And for that purpose, there are a few tips you can apply to maximize your chances of getting the big ticket item you want and minimize the time it takes for you to do so significantly. First off, when you first learn archaeology, from levels 1 to 50, you'll be getting skill ups by simply digging up fragments. Past that, digging up fragments won't level up your profession, so this means that you should avoid crafting any artifacts until you're level 50. When I was leveling archaeology, I did this and I managed to get from 50 to 100, and 50 skill points in archaeology is quite a lot, so that saved me quite a lot of time. What is a big deal though is the next step. You probably already know which item you want to get out of archaeology, but what you should also do is figure out which race this item belongs to. Here's a list of all the epic items you can get in Archaeology, along with which race they belong to. Once you see your item on this list, what I need you to do next is basically never craft any artifact of this race until you reach level 450 in Archaeology. The reason for this is basically because the minimum level to start seeing those big ticket items is 450. Now, of course, I say never craft items from the race that has your pre-bis before 450, but as I said earlier, there is a cap on how many fragments you can hold for each race, and that cap is 200. You'll probably reach that cap with that faction on your way to 450 if you don't craft anything from them. So do craft items to not reach the cap, but make sure you reach 450 with around 200 fragments for that race, and don't just go spending all your fragments to craft useless items before that. The next important tip is that the best continent for you to level up in is Eastern Kingdoms. The reason for this is because Eastern Kingdoms is slightly smaller than Kalimdor, and it also tends to have dig sites that are closer to each other compared to Kalimdor. You'll also notice that you'll unlock Outland dig sites at level 300 that have Draenei and Orc artifacts, Northrend dig sites at 375 for Nerubian and Vrykul artifacts, and Oldum dig sites for Tol'vir artifacts at 450. Unless you specifically need an item from these races, there isn't really a point to going to those continents. So just stay in Eastern Kingdoms all the way till you reach max level and or get the item you're after. Something not many people talk about, the epic items you get from Archaeology are all account bound, meaning you can mail them to any of your alts. This makes Archaeology a bit more alt friendly, as you really only need to level it once on one of your characters. That being said, it's already very long and tedious to get one pre-bis from this profession, so you're unlikely to want to do it all over again. But if you happen to be lucky enough to get a pre-bis from another class that you already have, at least you didn't get that item for nothing. Lastly, let's talk drop rates. In Archaeology, every race has a set amount of common and rare artifacts that can appear, and thankfully, only one epic artifact, meaning we can easily calculate the odds you'll get your epic item from those races. For trolls, the odds of getting Zin'rokh are thankfully among the highest at 7%. For dwarves, the staff is unfortunately only at 3%, the epic chest from night elves at 4%, 10% for the epic mail helmet from orcs, 17% for the one-handed axe from Vrykul, and Tol'vir here is a bit particular, as it has 6 epic items out of a total of 13 artifacts, making your odds of getting an epic artifact at 46%. However, you cannot guarantee which one you'll get. And also, Tol'vir dig sites share spawns with all of Kalimdor dig sites, making these Tol'vir artifacts quite tough to get if you're after them. And that's about everything I have for you today. As I said at the start, leveling this profession and getting your pre-bis items from it require a lot of patience and many hours of digging fragments and crafting artifacts. But you'll get some of the best items in the game that will last you all the way till you're ready for heroic raids in tier 11 or once tier 12 and 13 release. So good luck on your digging. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to give it a like and subscribe, as there will be more content like this in the future. My name is Numidia, and I will see you guys in the next one very soon. Bye for now.